Hello and welcome from Central Oregon Community College. The purpose of today's video is to share information about Title IX, a federal law that prohibits sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, and stalking on college campuses. As part of today's workshop, we'll provide an overview of what Title IX means and provide definitions for sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, and stalking. Next, we'll talk with you about what to do if you are a victim of or witness any form of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, and stalking. Essentially, the process and resources to report an incident. Additionally, we'll talk with you about what happens once it is reported, including confidentiality, the investigation options, including the option to not have the college review the situation, and the non-retaliation requirement. COCC is here to support all students, regardless of their circumstances. As such, we'll share with you on-campus and off-campus resources to support you should you be impacted by a Title IX incident. Let's first start by talking about what constitutes Title IX and a few definitions associated with it. Simply said, Title IX is the federal law that prohibits sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating or domestic violence, and stalking on college campuses or any properties or activities controlled by a college. Title IX includes several definitions, the first of which is sexual assault. Sexual assault is any behavior of a sexual nature that takes place without the consent of another individual or individuals. Such actions are also considered sexual assault when an individual is unable to give consent due to age, lack of physical capacity, or lack of mental capacity. Title IX also prohibits dating or domestic violence, which is defined as violence or other abuse from one person towards their current or former partner or spouse. Last, Title IX includes stalking, defined as a pattern of repeated or unwanted behaviors designed to make another person be afraid. There are two things to note about Title IX definitions. First, it prohibits digital abuse in all forms, including internet, cell phones, social media, or other electronic forms of communication. Additionally, Title IX prohibits any type of harassment by a third party, that is, someone who is not the aggressor but is acting on their behalf. Finally, Title IX protects individuals from sexual harassment or assault, dating or domestic violence, and stalking if it takes place at a college-sponsored event, regardless if that event takes place on or off campus. As a reminder, federal law, state law, and COCC prohibit sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking on college campuses. And the most important part, if this happens to you, if you witness it, or someone else tells you it happened to them, tell someone. COCC takes these situations very seriously and is here to help. Throughout this training, we've emphasized how important it is to tell someone if something happens to you, if you witness something happening to someone else, or if someone shares that it happened to them. But who should you tell? What happens after it is reported? The next section responds to these questions and more. COC employees are committed to providing a safe learning and working environment. As such, should something happen to you, should you witness it, or are told about it, you are required to report it. You can do so by reaching out to the Title IX Coordinator, Office of Student Life, Campus Safety, or Human Resources. All of their contact information is listed on the COCC website, or you are welcome to stop by the Office of Student Life in the Coates Campus Center on COCC's Bend campus. You are also welcome to complete an incident report. The incident report is automatically sent to the college's Title IX coordinator and is completely confidential. The easiest way to access the incident report is to visit the college's website, hover over the services link, click Student Life, and click Incident Reporting at the top of the page. Once submitted, The college's Title IX coordinator will reach out to discuss next steps, resources, and more. After a report is made, whether that is verbally or via an incident report, COCC's Title IX coordinator will reach out to the student or employee who reported it. The Title IX coordinator serves as a resource to reporting parties and will share information on investigation options, confidentiality, and local and national support services. The most important thing you can do, tell someone. COCC is here to help. This next section will briefly review key aspects of how the college will investigate a situation should someone choose to pursue this direction, including confidentiality, investigation options, and non-retaliation. It is important to stress that the reporting party directs what happens after an incident is reported. First, this includes how confidential the reporting party wishes to be. They may choose to allow the college to share their name with the responding party, or they may ask to keep information completely confidential, noting that if this happens, it may limit the college's ability to investigate the situation. Regardless, the college's Title IX coordinator will talk with you about this in more depth, making sure you are in control of what happens next. In addition to talking about confidentiality, the college's Title IX coordinator will talk to the reporting party about formal and informal options for pursuing an investigation. Briefly, the informal option includes having the Title IX coordinator coach someone on how to respond to a situation on their own. The formal option, however, means that COCC staff trained to be Title IX investigators will lead the process. As with confidentiality, greater detail about investigation options will be shared directly with the person who reported the incident. The final piece to note about an investigation is that all parties involved are prohibited from any activity that may be considered retaliatory simply because someone reported an incident. Retaliation could include actions such as harassing someone, making threatening statements, demoting someone, intimidating someone, and more. Retaliation is prohibited not only in person by the responding party, but also any action via phone, social media, or through another individual or individuals. With that, the college cannot help you if the incident is not reported. Therefore, please tell someone. Now that we've shared definitions of sexual harassment and assault, dating and domestic violence and stalking, as well as information about how to report an incident and about investigations, we would like to share with you some important resources. COCC takes incidents of sexual harassment and assault, dating and domestic violence, and stalking seriously, and has several resources in place to support you. First, COCC offers personal counseling to all students registered in credit classes and an employee assistance program for most employees. The appointments are free and confidential. Nothing from your discussion can be shared with others. COCC's Title IX coordinator is also a source of support and referral to other support services. Stop by the Office of Student Life at the Bend Campus, Coates Campus Center, or call 541-383-7211. COCC's Office of Student Life and its staff are also available to help. Their offices are in the Coates Campus Center at COCC's Bend Campus. In addition to on-campus support services, COCC recommends individuals experiencing sexual harassment or assault, dating or domestic violence, or stalking connect with Saving Grace, Central Oregon's Domestic Violence Help Center. Their services include free confidential crisis intervention, safety planning, peer counseling, safe shelter, and more. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available to help individuals find local resources, legal assistance, Native American services, and more. Both organizations have 24/7 telephone and chat hotlines and serve as excellent support for victims. Should an incident happen to you, or should someone report something to you that appears to be a Title IX violation, then know that as employees, you are responsible for sharing specific information. This next section outlines these steps, noting that you should never hesitate to contact COCC's Title IX coordinator with any questions. If someone chooses to share information with you regarding a potential Title IX incident, it shows that they have a great deal of trust in you. Therefore, it is most important to listen and to listen without judgment. Listening without judgment allows the other person to feel heard and valued, and in some instances allows them to regain control of their circumstances. Once the person has shared their situation with you, it is important to talk about confidentiality. There are two parts to this. The first is to let the person know that as a college employee, you are required to report this to the college's staff member who has responsibility for supporting individuals in this situation. At the same time, assure them that the college will keep this confidential to whatever degree that the individual chooses. In other words, they direct the next steps. A typical conversation could be, "Thank you for trusting me enough to share this information with me, and I am sorry you are going through this. As a college employee, I am required to report this to our staff member who specializes in these circumstances. It is important to note that they will keep this as confidential as possible and that you will control next steps of any process." Next, it is important to offer the individual resources for support, noting that the college's Title IX coordinator will also do so. The resources are those listed in the previous section and can also be found on the college's Title IX website. Best practices are to give the individual a copy of this information so that they have it available when needed. Finally, your responsibility is to report the incident. You can do this on the college's website by hovering over the services link at the top of the page, clicking on Student Life, and clicking on the Incident Report link. You can also contact the college's Title IX coordinator, Office of Student Life, or Campus Public Safety. We truly hope that no one at Central Oregon Community College is a victim of sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking. However, if this happens to you, a friend, an acquaintance, please tell someone. COCC is here to help.